This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If your fashion wish list lives rent-free in your brain, you need to be on Poshmark. With Poshmark, you're shopping millions of listings from thousands of closets, each curated by someone with their own style. Vintage finds, designer pieces, and everyday staples all in one place. Search for your favorites or let the discovery come to you. Poshmark makes it easy to find what you actually want to wear at prices that feel like a quiet win. Download the Poshmark app today and use code PODCAST10 when you sign up to get $10 off your first purchase.
All big changes start with a swift kick in the ass.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curren. With me today, I have Lori Atwood, CFP professional. Is that it? Founder of Fearless Finance, whose mission is to bring money happiness to everyone. I just absolutely love that, because who isn't happy with money? I mean, where money is concerned, money happiness is a very good thing. I think a lot of people are facing money sadness these days. And I'll tell you, just from my own personal experience, not to make this about me, but I am putting my second daughter through college right now. I'm done with the first one, now on to the second. And it's pay as you go, because I was too busy trying to pay off debt. My wife and I were too busy trying to pay off debt to save up money for, college fund. So we didn't have a very big college fund, and I'm very fortunate to, have children who are smart and self-directed, and were able to get grants and scholarships and such. So, but needless to say, it's like another house payment. And
It is.
It's tight. And I know a lot of people are facing this issue today. So regardless of why people are stretched thin or what got them into this situation, where do you start trying to find financial happiness?
So thank you for having me on the show. I have a senior in high school right now. So we're staring down the barrel of this as well. The only difference with us is that we only have one child, so it's a little bit easier than when you have two that overlap, or more than two that overlap.
I have my son is in high school. He's a freshman in high school right now.
Yeah, it's very hard. The overlapping part of it is super taxing for sure.
Yes.
So where do you start? So the first thing I want people to understand is that, with very few exceptions, it is fixable in personal finance. The issue, or the challenge, I should say, is that people are not always willing to take the medicine that needs to be taken to fix it.
Okay.
So to me, that's an empowering thing to think about. Like, okay, we, with very few exceptions, IRS debt, addiction, that kind of thing. If you're not in one of those particular situations, it's going to be fixable.
Okay.
And the thing the follow on to that is that in order for it to be fixable, you have to look at it.
Okay.
You have to shine a light on it. No avoidance.
I was thinking about just the name of your company, Fearless Finance. And you can, for listeners, you can go to fearlessfinance.com.
Yes.
And find information about Lori's company. They have a number of different financial advisors there, and they offer looks to be a really good service for people who are interested in getting their finances together. And
hourly financial planning. Yeah, it's hourly financial planning.
But so this show, I'm a big follower of Dr. Susan Jeffers, who wrote a book called feel the fear, but do it anyway. So,
Mm.
so I'm a big believer in facing your fears, especially because I think as you do that more and more often, I don't know if you become fearless, but definitely have a new perspective on it.
And fearless might be too much of a goal, but reducing fear is a
Yeah.
great goal, and reducing stress and anxiety, and maybe if there are two adults in the relationship, maybe stress within that relationship. That's really the goal. And there was that old, some of us are of the age where we remember that PSA that was like, it's better to know.
Yes.
And that was not about finance at the time, but the saying is the same. It is better to know. What we don't want is financial surprises. And so the first thing is know that it's probably fixable. The second thing is look at it. Get
Hmm.
help if you need someone to help you. Get a fee only hourly financial planner to look at it with you and figure out what the plans are. And then use whatever scaffolding you need to stay on your plan. And you're going to get there.
So that's
And
what you
so
mean by fixing it, really, is looking at the problem and then coming up with a solution.
a solution, whatever that solution is, right? Because it's one thing if somebody kind of comes to the mix with a lot of debt, consumer debt or something like
Hmm.
that. And then we make a plan to figure out how to get the debt managed and paid off. Other times people come with goals like, hey, I've got 3 kids going to college and I need to figure that out. Or I'd like to quit my current job and start my own business. Or I've got an elderly parent who's going to need help. Or we need to move. Any of those things. And so what we need to do is figure out what's going on in your finances, where there could be extra cash, how we can point it in the right
Hmm.
direction of your priority, your goal, and how long it'll take you to get there.
So it's really coming up with a strategy
Yeah.
that is practical, meaning that you can
Yeah.
actually do this. Um, so as you were listing the reasons why you might want this, I have to say I was probably about 4 out of 6 of those. Um,
They're pretty popular ones.
yeah, I was given a Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University um, I don't know, book series or audio book from a friend of
Right.
mine who just thought it was awesome. And this is the guy that goes through his budget, his spending plan every year and tries to cut the fat. And
Yeah.
someone really who I admire financially. He owns his house, he owns his cars, he's putting his kids through school and all that. I, on the other hand, came into marriage with debt, and we were several $100,000 in debt,
Non-mortgage.
not including the
Non-mortgage.
house.
Okay.
And we paid off over 200,000 in about 3 years.
Wonderful. That's great.
Because and I keep honestly, I forget about those numbers. But what I remember is that our first daughter was born. She was, 3 or going on 4. Our second daughter was just born. Yeah, so Evie was 4, Anna was just born, and I thought, how am I going to provide for my children with this 1,000-pound gorilla on my back? I was
Yeah.
like,
It's another mortgage.
I was living beyond my means. I mean, we were living beyond our means. Um, a lot of it not my wife's fault, but yeah, a lot of it was too, because she was spending money too. So, I mean, spending money we didn't have. So we were living outside of our means. And I will tell you, when you start cutting things and you actually start to get traction, I think what is discouraging for people is they think it's going to be easy. Like once you have the strategy, once you have the path and you start following it and you start getting success, that's where we started getting challenges. Like I came down with mono
Oh no.
because I was
That's awful.
so worn down. My oldest daughter put a Pop Tart package in the microwave, set it on fire.
Yes, indeed, that would happen.
Um, my wife's minivan needed brakes. It was new. And then also the dishwasher, we couldn't get into it because the handle broke. So all this stuff came in at once, and we're living on about, I think it was about $60 a week to eat for food. Just, you know, it was very thin times. And on top of it, I had mono, so I had no energy to do it. Oh yeah, and our refrigerator went out at the time.
Ugh, when
So
it rains, it pours, right?
yeah, so I mean, I've been there, and I'm here to give people hope that you can dig your way out of it. And again, it positions you, and no matter what you do, you're going to be in some position. But I think that's where the strategy is is very important. You need to come up with an approach for what you're trying to accomplish. I will tell you, living with all that debt, I told my wife, so we have to do something because I can't continue to live like this. If we don't, it's going to break our family apart.
That's right.
And
That's
that,
right.
and we stuck together. It brought us closer together. And every time I had to make a financial decision, I thought, does this carry me closer to my path, or further away? And sometimes it was farther away, and we justified it, when we came to terms with it. So it was not a straight line. It was
Hmm.
ups and downs, but here we are many years later, and family's still growing strong, and the kids are doing great.
Yeah. And I think you touched on one thing there that I'd like to expand on, if it's
Good.
okay with you.
Please.
You had said, you were spending, your wife was spending, and I want to back that out a little bit. What I find with thousands of clients, been doing this for a lot of years, right?
Hmm.
Is that when there is a discontentment with something, your relationship, your body, your
Hmm.
house, your job, whatever it happens to be, there's a lot of spending that happens because there's the I deserve it spending. And I'm going to do it, and I'm not watching my finances, and I deserve this, and my life is so stressful elsewhere, I'm just going to do it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so if you find yourself, yeah, because if you find yourself in that situation, it's normal, but there is a way out, which is to get that gap that's in your life filled. If you hate your job that much, find one that's going to make you happier, even if it pays less, because all of that is going to come right back round to you in contentment and less spending. If you are unhappy with your house because you just don't have enough bathrooms, let's add a bathroom
Hmm.
and get you to stop buying every meal at Chipotle or whatever it happens to be. I don't want to pick on Chipotle,
Yeah.
but
It's okay.
whatever it happens to be. And so my wealthiest clients, highest net worth is what I mean by wealthiest. They're very contented. They don't need fancy cars, fancy trips, fancy this or that. They don't care about any of that stuff. And so getting yourself to a place of contentment with whatever it is that's kind of disturbing you, or
Yeah.
wherever you have a gap, is going to go a long way to helping you with your finances,
Yeah.
certainly
No.
on the debt and spending side.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wrote this down as a note, dealing with that happiness, making changes in your life that increase your contentment could
Yes.
often, automatically help your finances. And so
Oh,
that was one of the
yes.
questions that I had. And I think what I heard is that if you're not happy with your life, as you said, you're going to be trying to compensate for that in other
Exactly.
ways, rather than really addressing the issue, is that you're not happy.
That's right.
I actually I learned that as well just through experience because
Hmm.
I have advanced degrees. I have two master's degrees, but I don't really use them in my job. I could have, when I started off school, I wanted to run a hospital,
Mm.
wanted to become a CEO of a hospital. Didn't have wife, no kids or anything. And I saw that life. Then managed care hit. And and the career path kind of just
Changed.
it's dry. Yeah, everything changed overnight, and I had to change. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to take an alternate route. Um, and what I'm sure glad I did because I would not have been happy doing that. And I've stayed in lower roles because honestly, I just want to work with what I have and be happy with what I have.
That's the key.
I make a
That's
good
the key.
income. I make a good income, and yes, there are um, trade-offs for that.
I've
But
had, yeah, I've had attorneys that work in big firms, and the first thing they say to me is, "When can I get out?" And they're
yeah,
making seven figures a year, but it's too
so high pressure.
taxing for them.
Yes, yeah,
It's too taxing for them. And my response always is, let's get out. What will that look like? And are you willing to make those compromises? Let's get out. I'm always all for whatever my clients want to do, well, as long as it's legal. Um, but if they want to start their own business or they want to move, gosh, I really want to move to another country. I want to move to another area of this country, whatever. Let's do it.
yeah,
But we need a roadmap. We need a way for you to know that you're going to be okay in retirement, that you're going to be able to get whatever your goals are. Maybe it is college or whatever it is, and that you're doing fine. Because when we can reduce that stress, that financial stress, then you're going to be a better parent, a better coworker, a better community member, a better spouse. It's better for everyone.
yeah. As you were speaking, I was thinking about how many people feel that ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
Not
not with
know,
money.
not knowing where you stand financially and not paying attention to how much money is in your accounts and how that compares to your bills. Looking at having dug myself out of debt, I did write down a list of the people and all my bills and everything like that, and
Hmm.
compared to what I had coming in, and I realized no wonder wasn't working.
That's what I mean by not avoiding. You
Yeah.
have to look. You have to look.
But knowing where you stand, even if it's not in a good place,
Yes,
is much better than not knowing where you
that's right.
and
It's
just and
better to
living
know.
living with blinders on because ultimately it's going to hit and it's going to hit hard and not in a good place. I like to talk about resilience here on this
Okay.
show a lot. And I'd like to understand really what that means to you from a financial perspective and how do you build resilience?
So I think that's a great question. Um, and resilience has a lot of different meanings, but for personal finance, at least in my opinion, what it means is that if life's ups and downs, you're able to handle them without worrying about being on the bleeding edge of food security or housing security or any of those things. And so you want to be financially resilient, meaning that you can come back from a layoff, a health issue, heaven forbid there's a dissolution of whatever adult
Hmm.
relationship is in the household, or some other major bankrupting event, crisis. And the best way to do that is with an emergency savings fund. Having enough cash. Cash is king. Whoever said that is
Hmm.
absolutely right. Cash is king. Having enough cash around if something were to happen. Now, heaven forbid that microwave fire that you discussed a few minutes ago, what if that encompassed more than just the microwave? Heaven forbid,
Right.
right? You have insurance, sure, but there's going to be stuff that's not covered. We need cash. I recommend 4 to 6 months of your expenses. Remember, you just said a minute ago that you counted up everything that was going out. Add it up. Let's say you have $10,000 going out every month, which would be normal in most cities in this country. You've got to have $40,000 to $60,000 of cash sitting in an account, a high yield savings account or a brokerage account in money markets, either way, whatever suits you, in case something happens. And that builds your financial resilience. But that might feel like too big of a goal. So let's back up from that.
Okay.
So the first step of financial resilience is making sure that if a bad car repair or dental work, dental work's never covered, dental work comes up, you can handle it. More than 50% of Americans would be thrown off financially by a $500 repair. I forget, I think it's 60%, but I don't want to get quoted on that number because I'm not sure. But it's higher than 50%. So what I recommend is that if you're a single person or two adults in the relationship, you need $3,000 of cash for what I call rainy day expenses, car repairs, dental work. If there's kids, I'm looking for $5,000 because kids get into stuff, microwaves and everything else. That's the first step in your financial resilience is, do I have a couple of bucks of cash in case the brakes go? And you named that one. In my case, my husband had $1,000 of dental work last year that was not covered.
That comes up like as a surprise. You don't necessarily have to have dental pain or anything like that.
Exactly. Or if you're an animal person and you have a pet, my goodness, the pet bills can be really, really tough. They can be very tough.
Yes.
But there are a million other reasons. There are pipes that break and pipes that freeze and whatever.
And $500 is not very much.
Not very much.
Dave Ramsey recommends that you start out with $1,000 emergency fund as quick as you possibly can.
I don't disagree with that. You got to start somewhere.
He was saying 4 to 6. He was saying the same thing as you as well. 4 to 6 months. It just seems so like unreachable. I think
it's daunting.
People, it's very daunting. But I'll tell you, $1,000 you can burn through really fast.
How much of a plumber would you get for $1,000? And the answer is not that much.
You can't even buy tires nowadays, really, for $1,000.
No, that's right. That's right. Especially if you need a full set of tires. And so to back that out further on your resilience question, how do I put together $2,000 or $3,000, Lori? Well, you have to start with what you started with. You have to take all of your income after taxes and benefits, after all of that, and all of your expenses and subtract. Anyone who's gone past 4th grade can do the math that I'm talking about doing. Subtract. If that number is not a positive number, you got to go back and cut the expenses until it is. Now, some people, depending what they do for a living, they could take on more work. If that's possible, great. But that's not an option for everybody. So you've got to cut the expenses. Now, if you've accumulated debt, you cannot cut the debt servicing. And so that's how bankruptcy occurs, is that there's more and more debt, and the debt servicing is this much, and the utilities and the phone bill and the groceries and whatever is this much, and the debt just keeps pushing down on the stuff that we all need to live every month. And so that's the cycle of debt. And that when you've hit a point like that, you need professional help to help figure out a way to get you out from under. But if you haven't hit that point yet, you just have some debt that you want to take care of and you want to get rid of it, figure out what you're earning as a household, both adults in the family, figure out what you're spending, and just keep taking a knife to it until you get to a positive number where you can put aside $100 a month, $200 a month, and build that first rainy day savings. I call it rainy day savings. I don't know what Dave Ramsey calls it. And then start building your emergency savings. Start with 1 month of your expenses. It always takes at least 1 month. If heaven forbid you lose a job or whatever it is, it's going to take you a month to unwind things like, daycare or wherever you're renting or
Hmm.
whatever it happens to be. You're going to need that month at least. So start where you can start, but it all starts with whatever light there is between what you earn and what you spend.
Yeah. It's I'm really hoping that people will find the courage here to really face this fear. Um,
Yeah.
I even though I went through this, and I think this was probably 20 years ago now, where we went through this. It's still a continuous battle. I go through my spending. I finally just changed my spending plan to kind of work in a different way that works better for me because
Yeah.
you know people would make a lot of suggestions about, oh, just do this or just do that. um, and I went through consumer counseling and everything,
Good.
but I had to make it work for me. um,
Yeah.
and until you take the time to try to understand it, I mean, it's really daunting. But I like to say that I you can't look at things as a one time, like a one and done. This happened through many, many
Ongoing.
years, and it's going to continue on whether you like it or not. So
It's habitual. It
yes.
has to become a habit. And you hit on a really interesting topic right there, which is um, everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got different personalities, different histories, different backgrounds, different baggage. And you could come into a marriage, a relationship with someone who's like a real saver, like holds on to every dollar, and you're more into like having a nice thing here and there at
Mm-hmm.
least. And you have to figure out how to coexist. What I find in couples like that is that the saver becomes more of a saver and the spender becomes more of a spender. There more space comes between them because
Mm.
each one is trying to compensate for the other. And what we need to do at that, what I find works, I should say, at that point is to say, look, we're going to give you based on, if you came to us, we would go through your cash flow, but you could do it on a spreadsheet or a piece of paper if you needed to. This is what you're earning. This is what you're spending. We have a set amount that we have for what I call full discretionary spending, eating out, clothing, all the
Mm-hmm.
Amazon purchases we all do, housewares, Ubers and taxis and whatever ride share if you're doing it, anything that is not the basics. We have a pot as a family, as a household. And as long as we don't go over that pot, we have enough to save each month. So
Mm-hmm.
all we need to do is track that pot and we need to communicate as the adults in the household. Hey, the oldest child needs a pair of boots for this and this activity. It's going to cost me this much. Just make sure you're not buying too much because I got to get her some boots, whatever it is. So we're looking for that communication to
Yeah.
happen without an argument, where you're just informing each other of what's getting spent and you feel empowered to spend what's in that pool of full discretionary, right? Who among us doesn't have something sitting in their closet with the price tag still on it because you feel so guilty about it?
Yeah. So this that's it's interesting because I mean I faced the same thing with my wife.
I'm sure.
I'm the main breadwinner. She has a job, but it's more of a part-time type of job, and she's never been interested in like the money aspect of the work.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I work because we need the money. I need to provide for the family. So I understand what you're saying about the U shape.
Yeah.
It does bring you apart.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to change a lot to compensate, so that we have, and we, like my dad told me, always, never lose control of the money. He says, don't, he's always keep your own account is what he told me. And,
Wow.
and, but what I thought, and my dad passed over 10 years ago now. Um, but I found out my dad was the visionary. My mom, she was the money person. She was socking it away. My
There
dad
you
was
go.
like, you know,
Yeah.
he was not good with he was good at spending money. So
Well,
she
there
come
you go. And that's the thing. I have a husband who is not that spendy, but he has a bunch of hobbies.
mm, yeah,
He does have a bunch of hobbies. And so each year when we do our planning for the year, you know, he tells me what he needs for those hobbies and he gets what he needs for those hobbies. And he spends within it and he's happy within it. And
yeah,
what wouldn't work is if I said, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." The hobbies are part of who he is. He's like that kind of Renaissance guy. He's got all kinds of it. Me, I own my own business. I have no hobby, right? We're just very different in that way.
yes,
But that was something I knew about him and he needed to have that. And so the key is that you agree, you discuss it in calm voices, you agree amounts, you figure out how it fits into the overall plan, and then everyone knows it's there. And he
yeah.
can feel empowered to do all the stuff he needs to do. And I don't have to feel guilty and I don't have to feel like I want to make changes and compensate for this. It all fits into one greater plan.
Yeah, no, that, ooh, sorry, my dog that was barking. No,
Uh,
that sounds like, I mean, that sounds like a great way to start the conversation with my wife and kind of re
Absolutely.
kind of reboot some things. So your financial counselors work with couples and work with families together to form those plans. Might have to look into that as well. Just I think it might be a good thing.
Absolutely. And it's hourly, and we're fully certified. We're registered investment advisors with the SEC. So even though it feels like we're counselors, we're financial planners, registered financial planners. But because we work by the hour, we're a trusted advisor. You get to know us, you know how much you're going to be
Hmm.
paying. We're not conflicted because we're not selling you anything and we're not trying to manage your money. And we don't care if you have X number of dollars or Y number of dollars. We're there to help. And that's the difference.
Yeah, and I honestly that would just I think make a lot of people happy just to have someone to sit down with and talk talk their way through to better
Exactly.
understand what they're really up against. Whether it be good or bad. I have my mom is going on 93 years old.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, and she still manages the family properties, the uh,
Okay.
the commercial property that she goes and collects the rent. So,
You said she was the money person.
oh yeah, she is the money person, and it really keeps her sharp. So I don't
Yeah.
really feel like I have to look out for her, but I'm going to be in charge of the legacy. I mean, my sister and I want to make sure that, my everything that my parents worked for is used in a wise way.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I mean, I'm not really sure. Everyone comes at this from a different approach. I have some dreams too. I'm 59 years old, and I'm getting ready to retire. I mean, that's my career goal is
Mm-hmm.
to retire. But I have this podcast I've been doing for 15 years, I guess, and I'm kind of creating a runway or an off ramp because I'm not going to be sitting around, in a rocking chair drinking lemonade in
No.
retirement. I want to be productive still. I just want to live my own life. And, if I can create something that helps support my lifestyle, I want to do that. I read another book called You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. And it was written by a financial planner who surveyed, I think, over 10,000 of his clients and talked about his clients who were most happy after retirement. And he said it really wasn't based on how much money they had in their accounts,
It never is.
It's based on that balance between what it costs for you to live and the income that you have. And a lot of people don't need very much money to be very, very happy. Um,
Especially at that age, if the house is paid off, which it very well could be, you take the biggest expense off the table. Retirees, it's
yeah, that would just
not that
change.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but he said that the people who were most unhappy were the people who threw themselves into work and did not have a life outside of work. And that oftentimes the day after the retirement party, they
It
were
it
they
can,
were found their life ended. They ended their
yeah,
life.
and they can get depressed.
Very
Yeah, people can
depressed.
be depressed.
And I knew I wasn't going to be like that because I'm looking forward to retirement.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
I want to live my life with and visit with friends and family. I mean, to me, that's I want to have more choices, and money is the way. I mean, money you can't buy happiness with money, but you need money these days.
Money buys comfort, not happiness.
Yeah,
Happiness is
it
your
buys choices.
decision.
It buys options, I think.
Yeah, which is what comfort, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
And so, yeah.
yeah, so I'm all for this. You might be hearing from me again.
Excellent. I would love to hear from you. But that's the thing is, I mean, I think when people retire is different in all circumstances. There are people that just love what they do and, look at Warren Buffett's whatever he is, 98, 99, I don't know. And he's still at it, although I think he just stepped down this
I think
year.
so, yeah.
Yeah. And he's perfectly happy, but other people it's like, wow, I can't wait to get out there and golf a lot and, whatever else you're into and that's great. And you're right. It For a typical lifestyle, it's usually less than you think it is. And what I find is that there are a lot of calculators online that are the math is incorrect. They're not taking in enough of the subtleties into you know into the whole calculation, and people get overwhelmed by the number that gets spit out of the calculator,
Yeah.
and that's another reason that a human planner is going to be a good choice because that person will take all of the subtleties, all of your custom needs and whatever wrinkles are in your financial plan into account and tell you what you're really going to have when you retire, if you retire at X year or Y year or Z year.
Yeah. Through this podcast, I've really honestly become, I think, more independent. And I'm very much a do-it-yourselfer. But
Mhm.
what I have learned is that you cannot be an expert at everything.
Yeah,
And the smartest people, it's not what they know necessarily, it's who they know and who they bring into their circles that can help them advance whatever they're trying to do.
yeah,
Um, you don't have to be an expert at finances, but you should be aware of your own finances. And if you can't devise a way to manage them, the sooner you talk to someone and get a plan
the better
together,
you're going to be.
the
Yeah.
better you're going to be. You
It's
don't,
never too late. I mean,
yeah,
that's something that bears mentioning is that if you feel like, oh, well, I haven't done it and I'm 59 or I'm 42 or I'm whatever it is, it's never too late. Get get some help, get a plan put together. You're still going to be fine, chances are, as long as you don't have one of, like I said, one of those issues that's kind of a much more complex issue. You're just going to need to start today. Today's the
Yeah.
first day of the rest of your life, and that's definitely the case with your finances.
That's, I think that's a perfect advice, honestly. So many people just continue to put it off.
Yes.
Um, these problems, they don't go away.
No,
Financial issues don't.
no.
Even like medical costs. You talked about the dentist earlier. Um, my wife, I forget exactly why she wasn't feeling well, but she ended up going. I guess she went to an urgent care, and they said, no, you should go to an emergency room.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, and just the out of pocket for that, and I have good insurance,
It's
was,
insane.
and it was not expected. Um, and like I said, we're trying to put our kid through college and everything. So
Hmm.
you have to having an extra cushion, having that emergency fund. I mean, if you don't have it, I mean, I've been able to make ends meet because I know how to work things if I need to.
Move the levers around.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've been developing my own system for a number of years now, so I feel okay. But I know there are a lot of people out there who really, really struggle. I know I could do it much better. It's still I'm still a work in progress, but that's okay. That's also what this channel is about, is learning and
Yeah.
growing, and this is part of it. You talked about adulting too.
Hmm.
What do you call financial adulting? Was
Financial adulting is taking care of those five things that I kind of talked about a few right at the beginning of our discussion, making sure you're spending less than you earn each month consistently, making sure you have $2,000 if you're single or just a couple, 4 or 5,000 if you've got a couple kids, making sure you have that emergency savings set aside, making sure you're saving enough for retirement.
hmm
And typically my very basic rule of thumb is that you should be saving 15% of your pre-tax. And some of that may be an employer match. Maybe your employer match
hmm
is 4%. So then you should be saving 11. And then any more is better. I'm not
Right.
telling you to not do more. That's a floor. And then lastly, that you're managing consumer debt. I don't mean mortgages and car loans. I mean consumer debt, credit cards, personal loans, that Klarna, that kind of thing. And if you've got those five things going, if you can tick those boxes, you are prosperous and you're doing great. And now we're going to focus, if you've got those five things done, now we can focus on goals. And goals may be college, they may be a
hmm
renovation, they may be a replacement car or a big trip, whatever it is.
And
And
that's
that's adulting.
I love it. And that to me is nothing to be scared of. So many people put down adulting, but who wants to be a kid? Who wants to have all of their decisions made for them about what they wear, what they eat, where they go? Every aspect of their life could be controlled
Exactly.
potentially. Um, I certainly don't want that. I think a lot of my
No,
listeners, they don't want that either. And
exactly.
so, so Lori's group is going to help with
Yes.
with this. Uh, I recommend everyone check out Lori's site,
Thank you. Fearless
fearless
Finance.
fearlessfinance.com. You can read
Mhm.
all about it. You can find out. It's I thought it was very clearly laid out, and especially as far
Thank
as
you.
pricing and such is concerned, especially with
Yeah.
on financial matters. If you're looking for a financial advisor, you're concerned about money. So to have the pricing out there, I don't know, that made me get
It's we want to be as transparent as we can be. We want to lower the barriers for people who have anxiety about this to come and get the help that they need. And other financial advisors, especially people who are selling products, they don't have their prices listed. Everything, well, I didn't pay him. Well, if you don't pay someone, then you're the product. That's the
right,
thing
right.
to always remember. And otherwise, people, if they're managing your money, they're taking a percentage of your assets, and that is rarely worthwhile for you. And so that's why we do this hourly fee arrangement. It is a way that people understand this is how you pay your plumber, you know, and you know what you're getting for the time that you spend with us. Yeah. And if you come to our site and you fill out one of our contact us forms and you put Curren in the promo code
Mm-hmm.
or kick in the ass or whatever you want to say to identify this podcast,
Okay.
we'll give you $50 off the first meeting.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Our
Appreciate that.
pleasure. Our
I
pleasure.
appreciate that. Now, so Lori, maybe I guess we can wrap this up. I think I covered everything. This was a fantastic um,
I enjoyed it.
discussion, and I think it's going to be really, really helpful to people because people don't want to talk about finances, but this show is a swift kick in the ass. So we're going to kind of motivate people towards a more positive path. And I mean,
Exactly.
I need it. I'll be the first to admit it. I need it. I'm still working on my finances. I sell things on eBay, like just before my dad died, he was a pack rat and he had a
Mm,
lot of, I don't even know why he had these things, but he'd give it to me and he said, I can't throw it away. I don't care what you do with it. You
just
could
get it
throw it
out of
away if you
here.
want, just get it away. And so I turned it into cash.
Yeah,
So I kind of got into, making a couple extra $100 every so often. I just put things out on eBay. Um,
sure.
I have a boat, so I'm like your husband. I have a lot of different
A
hobbies.
lot of interests.
So, I use it as a way to fund my fun activities. And, let's just face it, hobbies can get very expensive,
That's
but
right.
they add a lot to your life. And life would be
Mm-hmm.
very boring if we didn't have our interests and we couldn't follow
Mm-hmm.
our interests. And
Absolutely.
this, I think this audience here are the people who have dreams, who want a better life. They want to live life on their terms. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people these days have kind of lost hope and lost the dream. Um,
Yeah,
so I hope that this discussion will maybe make them dream again and be
I
fearless
hope so
about it.
because it's out there. It's out there for them.
I agree. Well, Lori, thank you so much for your time. I think we'll
Thank you
wrap
for having me.
we'll wrap it up. Again, fearlessfinance.com. And thank you very much for your time, Lori. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.
When was the last time you felt in control of your business finances? Expenses tracked, invoices sent, taxes ready. That's where Found comes in. Found brings your banking, bookkeeping, invoicing, and taxes together in one simple app. Manage expenses, invoice clients, send payments, and prep for tax time right where you bank. Join the hundreds of thousands who have already streamlined their finances with Found. Open a Found account for free at found.com. That's FOUND.com. Found is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services provided by Lead Bank, member FDIC.